nice coordination game, because yeah, like games are kind of the best tool that we have so far at like really helping people understand the complex environments and actually having fun while doing.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
How would this Web3 publishing house, how could it look like? Could we have a storefront and metagame?
And seems to resonate with so many people. And go back to just me. Lastly, what will we do with the donations? So there's our Gitcoin grant. Go and donate one DAI. That's all.
Of course, between commons and capitalism.
In both numbers and per capita consumption.
Thank you, Julio.
Try to have time.
We simply have no planet B. We can't fuck this up.
We actually changed the way we deploy to a peer.
DeFi is dangerous.
Yeah, okay, we have some stuff obviously going on in the background.
Yeah, I would have never known.
It's really interesting because when you look at messenger pigeon.
Changes, you can see them here. Biggest jump I think was like Penguin.
At launch, only the flash loan feed will be activated.
It's a real tragedy because the world would be a different place if it was. But with the introduction of DeFi, we are allowed to do what we want with our riches.
And decentralized or crypto voxels. I think that NFTs and Web3 really help solve the missing value loops for people to make it more than just a hobby.
Cool. Hello. I'm here with Nova, and I'm waiting for Penguin, and we're going to open up MetaFest2. Okay, one sec. Yes.
All right, wonderful. Video is back.
Hold on, I'm just checking. There seems to be some audio issues. People can't hear the audio apparently. I'm just checking. Yeah. The usual.
Testing. It looks like
I
my bar
can hear
is
you.
moving.
All right. Looks like the stream is a bit they're watching in Discord. I don't know. It looks like they're just a bit behind. I'm in Discord and watch together.
I hear dial-up right now.
You can hear it now?
Yeah.
Cool. It looks like it's just the promo videos just started. I guess. So they're watching the promo. So we should, I'm not gonna watch together.
Yeah.
And yeah. Cool. Hey Penguin, how you doing, man? It's been a while since we spoke.
Doing great, bro. Yeah, you, man?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm getting pretty excited actually. Because we since last year, MetaFest kind of changed my life in a way, and now today is the sequel, and that's amazing. And I'm glad I'm more involved this time. And yeah,
I'm happy to have you, man. And yeah, it's like one of my favorite events. It's like Christmas and Easter mixed in with a conference.
Sweet. Sorry, they just told me I was speaking in Discord stuff. But yeah, yes, bro. I might have to get a headphone actually, another one, just to hear you properly. There we go. We're good.
Can you hear me now?
And you could probably hear me better, hopefully.
Switch this to omnidirection. That might be better too.
There we go.
How my lives? Coming good? Is that better? Audio? I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me now? I can hear you.
Yeah. I can hear you.
Sweet.
Great.
We did it once again. But yeah, so MetaFest2, we've got a lot lined up, which is great. I'm super stoked. The first thing on the schedule is opening ceremony, opening day. I guess we could just give you leak the alpha, I guess, of what to expect.
Yeah, I think we'll probably we'll intro what the days are. We'll talk about everything else that's going on, such as ETH Prague, NFT NYC. Is there another event that's happening too?
I believe there's something. NFT NYC. I think there's one in Texas as well. I think. I'm not sure. I know someone was talking about Texas recently in an event. But I'm not too sure. I might have to Google that in a sec.
I've heard a lot about Texas, but not in the Web3 context.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Things are changing, man.
Yeah. I haven't heard so much about Florida, man, but I've heard a lot about Texas, man, lately.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Should we try and pull someone else in here?
Sure.
Yeah.
When are we on?
We're on Let's Meet. We're on the main stage. Let's Meet. Yeah.
Sounds like people see us on YouTube.
Oh, looks like someone's trying to jump in. Unipuff. Welcome to the lobby. What's going on, Unipuff?
All right. Let me
Good
get
morning.
ready. Great. Setting my sustenance in order to be ready for these 2 weeks coming.
Fueling up.
Oh yeah, you gotta prepare. It's a regimen. I got the sleep schedule started last night.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wake up at 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Oh yeah, it's a rough schedule for the West Coast.
You're gonna become a millionaire, man? Have plans?
I'm gonna be at MetaFest for 2 weeks. It's not about getting rich, it's about fixing the world and doing what we love to do.
Exactly.
We're on, aren't we?
That's a good question. Are we on, boOg?
Yeah, we are on. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well then yeah, we're live. Welcome. Thank you so much. I think we were just talking about the convergence of energy right now. We just got back from Amsterdam. We were all at Dev Connect for about 2 weeks. It was the largest in-person metagame meetup I've had so far. There were like 12 or 15 of us, it felt like. How many metagamers were there?
Yeah, at least a dozen.
Yeah, at least a dozen. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great event. It was a great bonding experience. Great to hang out with the fam, MetaFam were there. And yeah, I think even this month there's a lot of stuff going on. NFT NYC is going on. We got ETH Prague going on towards the end of the month. And obviously MetaFest going on all month too. So lots of things when everyone's busy. Thank you for coming and joining us. boOg said MetaFest is like one of the events that is so experimental and life-changing because we all get to enjoy the comforts of our own home, but still have the joys of talking to all the amazing people in our space in a time that's comfortable for them. So how you doing, Uni?
Well, I'm alive, I guess. That's getting ready to go to the UK, basically.
Nice. What's happening in the UK?
I made I don't know if it is a good choice or not. It might not be to actually do a PhD, so I will be there.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but I am concerned because I don't want to leave what I do here and generally in Web3 behind. And this is what's on my mind. It's like, how much time will I be able to spend in this? And it seems like Web3 is very time consuming already. And it's very demanding. And yeah, it's we're all here pretty much all the time. And so I'm like, that's gonna be hard.
Yeah, last year I had to make a really past the baby bar, but there was just so much homework, and I was hosting MetaFest last year, so I had to choose one. It's like Web3 or finish the first year of law school. And
oh my goodness,
you know, I chose MetaFest. I can always finish law school. I love it. It's a passion, but you know, the time that we have together is short, and so you got to capitalize when we have the time.
Definitely, yeah. Man.
Priorities.
But yeah, it's definitely a challenge to do, you know, a doctoral with Web3.
With decentralized organizing, which is already, yeah, lots of organizing to do in all kinds, all levels.
What type of PhD are you going for?
You sure you're gonna get there? So you're gonna get there? It will be like it will be a philosophy PhD, but it will be related to open science, and so it will have like an empirical aspect, a case study. And you know, I'm trying to bring these things that are going on in DeSci and Web3 research and join them with these two together and make this, do this like integral bridge building in some way, so I can survive in this. So, you know, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's where the entire world needs to go. And I think having the chance to talk with you for when we were at Dev Connect, I definitely think that you've got an amazing intellect, and you know, exploring and combining this stuff will help other people understand what we're doing. So thank you for everything you're doing, Uni. You're awesome.
It's not about me, man.
Oh no, it's about all of us. And really, that's the thing, is like the things that we are passionate about, everyone else means that they're passionate about too. You know, I mean, there are some things that are unique to us, but the more isolated we are, the more connected we've been. You know, and that's one of the crazy things about COVID, is it brought us all together in new ways and showed people that they're not alone, and their interests and the way that they think and wanting to support the world.
And people having time to actually reflect. Because this seems like it was like a shift going on around this. The world is not the same thing. Like we went back, we went like to normal mode, but it is not the same. You know, the post-COVID world is not the same. And now that we realize that we can actually be able to communicate together in more effective ways and do stuff like work with others, like with strangers online, and become friends and have like very niche and similar interests, things are already like, it's a huge change. I think like meta game is a really good representation of that. Like everybody is very niche and very interesting in their own respect.
Yeah, it teaches you that you know, coming into this space is more about learning and being here for the right reasons than it is about profit seeking and any of that stuff, right? That what we seek is like a way to understand both computers, programming, and kind of take back the power of intelligence, right? That's one of the big things about we'll see during this time, is that we spent a lot of effort on bringing in Web3 aligned people. So a lot of this will be focused on DAO tooling and the DAOs and organizations that are doing things right rather than marketing. This is going to be just like last year, we reached out to the people that you need to hear from rather than the people that want to throw money to talk to you. So these are all the creators and the actual makers in our space. They're going to be here for the next 2 weeks and telling you about the hardships of DAO life and actually using the tools. We'll have a few tooling days. We'll have a refreshing metaverse day tomorrow. So the schedule is pretty well lined up. We've got some refi days to talk about kind of solar punk and regenerating some of the damage that's been done. So there's a lot of interesting and helpful ways that Web3 is shaping the world, and we're going to try and show you everything from wearables to digital fashion to the core DAOs of our ecosystem. And one of the ways that I like to describe metagame to people is we're the religion of the meta cartel ecosystem. So some people are focused on providing a service such as development or doing design sprints for people, and metagame is a lot about aligning. boOg, I think you have. No, sorry. I think it's about aligning the different. Yeah, sorry. It was a stream here. It's about aligning the different tools that we've been building. Sorry, I got distracted there.
No worries, bro.
No worries, man. And there's a lot of tools that we have. This is why it's like 2 weeks full packed, and not like the first is more concerned about that. But still, there's so much going on and stuff that is more underground, I would say, in the whole tooling space. It hasn't been at this, and I'd say a bit underestimated.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we realized too in DAO life is that it's hard to coordinate a lot of people. And so like you want to try and use some tools that'll help coordinate people, but at the end, it all matters if people use them and if it works for the group. So there's no one set of tools that you can apply to a group of people. It'll be very different depending on your needs as an organization. And yeah, so as I remember now, I was talking about the religion of metagame, and it's all about kind of having fun and onboarding people with the right ethos. Because as you say, we're so niche and kind of diverse that the real power isn't that we are doing the same thing. It's that we're all having fun and understanding things and coming together and gamifying it, using these tools, experimenting, and doing it in a way that we can share it with others in a positive way. So that's what this event and Web3 is all about. And so, I think Metagame is one of my favorite organizations for exploring all these different tools because it is so kind of chaotic and like a crazy octopus swallowing the world. It only has room to grow and too many arms.
It's like some
very
big scale memery going on, especially with Nova right here.
Yeah. Yep. So I think I wanted to also throw a big shout out to the people that are making MetaFest happen. Obviously, boOg on the streaming team. Tommy's been a big leader here, coordinating everyone, helping with the schedule, getting everyone in place. So big props to Tommy. Unipuff, thank you so much for coming and all the work that you're doing. Misanth as well. All of the metagame aligns and really pushes together. So tenfinney's been really big in preparing the VR spaces as well as organizing people. I'm really impressed with everyone. Landmower has been here too, helping test out the stream, updating things, getting the schedule set up. Fearless Thompson has been here, coordinating people with the schedule and helping out, as well as a ton of other people. Luxembourg with the amazing website. Peth has been instrumental in reaching out to people and putting together the planning schedule. And I'm really excited with everyone that has turned out and it's going to be on the schedule, as well as that has helped put it together. I'm really excited for all the speakers today and coming up this next couple of weeks. So
It's going to be great.
What we got for opening ceremony. Do we have a first speaker coming up?
Oh, let's check the schedule. First up, we've got, in 5 minutes actually, we've got tenfinney, the Voxels intro, showing us the MF2 HQ.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah, Voxels, for those that might not know, is what Crypto Voxels has rebranded itself. So we've got the Metaverse headquarters at tenfinney. We'll be showing you that soon. After that, I think today's going to be rather light. We're going to give you some metagame intro stuff. But come back tomorrow as well for our Metaverse Day, where we jump into each one of the worlds. It's going to be really exciting. Yeah. So, Uni, what's one of the talks that you're the most excited about in the coming schedule? Is there one of them that you're looking forward to?
Oh man, I'm looking at the end of MetaFest, like the second week towards the end. There's some very, very interesting people, and there's like a diverse group of voices also coming from. Some are concerned with decentralized science, and some with regenerative science, some with public good, some are with weird kind of emerging ideological schemas and philosophies that tie very well to this whole space of decentralized finance. So I'm really excited for Meta Day, for sure.
Awesome. How about you, boOg? Is there any talks that you're really looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to talking about Neos and getting involved in the treasure hunt. That's I don't want, like, the thing is, I don't want to say too much because I might give away spoilers or something. But I'm excited. There's a lot of various different parts I'm excited for.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of different clues for the headquarters and the scavenger hunt too. So make sure you come back throughout the event to learn more about that. I'm sure you'll hear more about that throughout the weeks. Yeah, I think I'm really excited about the 16th as well. We've got a large group of ladies to help describe women in Web3 and some of the major advancements there that we're doing to support diversity. I'm really excited for tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be off the hook. We're going to see all the different worlds, and it'll be like we'll see some new games too in there. And then yeah, I'm really excited for the weekends. I think we've got some cool parties. On the 20th, we've got Life Live, so it's going to be like a party that we can all kind of share there with it's a really cool experience. And I think even this next weekend, we're going to have parties. Tenfinney's going to be spinning for us. We're going to have some games, all kinds of cool stuff. So lots of fun stuff to look forward to this weekend.
Sweet. All right, so what's the time? Should I switch to a be right back, and then we'll get ready for the next?
Should we let Nova speak? Oh, well, Nova has to say.
I don't think the Nova translator is still in early alpha, so it's not ready yet. We wouldn't be able to comprehend what yeah.
It's like the elder gods, right? If we hear it, it drives us mad.
Exactly. It's something along those lines, like, yeah.
The world will have to wait. Yeah.
It's all fun and games until you hear the giant screeching octopus.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. All right, sweet. We'll be right back in a minute with more interesting, amazing voxely action.
Give me the countdown before we're live.
I'm going to turn the camera for a bit. Because I need to sort out a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, I sent him. Yep. You have to unmute yourself as well.
Oh, hello. You know how I change the camera?
Maybe it's settings.
It's a good question. I think if you click in the top right, there's 3 buttons. One of them says add new video input. Maybe?
Extra video. Oh, yeah, yeah. Now I have to.
Yes.
How do I delete the old one?
Good question. I
We
didn't
are
know
learning.
that they would
You're actually
duplicate it.
streaming your audio from the old one, but this is
Okay.
don't worry.
Hi, family.
If it ain't
Hey,
broken,
how's
don't
it
fix it.
going? Welcome. So great to see
So
you.
weird application. Happy to see you guys.
So wonderful to see you too. How are you doing?
Doing great. Right now we are moving here from where we living like a year, and you know, we are facing these transitions. I feel really great because I think we are going to perform more on 3D realm. You know, we are preparing ourselves to be playing in restaurants, to be playing on different spaces, and I'm so happy for this movement. But you know, to be honest, there's like a lot to process. But anyway, we have music, and that helped us to digest it. Tengo un código básico para tus hábitos tóxicos, para cambiarte el sonido, para moldearte el oído. Tengo un bálsamo ácido, dulce como la realidad, para cambiarte por dentro, para ir sacando lo feo. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. Como hay que saber, a veces sientes todo un batallón, a veces la hormiga ruge al león, a veces Marte saca su...
Oh, I lost audio. Oh,
Where did he go?
We lost them.
Oh man.
I'm reaching out to see if we can see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like we may have lost our dear friend mid vibe. I was really getting into that. Oh no.
I hear an echo too. Is that from your stream, boOg?
Maybe. Oh yeah, I'm on Discord. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back.
So good.
Sorry, you're muted again. You have to unmute.
Oh, you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Hey, yeah, I'm here with Vanessa now.
Excellent. Welcome back. Sorry for that.
Hey.
Hey, Vanessa.
Hey guys.
Tera de Mar.
Hello.
Okay, now we are going to perform again. Tengo un código básico para tus hábitos tóxicos, para cambiarte el sonido, para moldearte el oído. Tengo un bálsamo ácido, dulce como la realidad, para cambiarte por dentro, ver sacando el feo. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. Como hay que saber, a veces sientes todo un batallón, a veces la hormiga ruge al león, a veces Marte saca su color. Como hay que saber, no todo siempre se hace menester, y lo sagrado siempre ha de estar, así nosotros no podamos ver. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. Tengo un código básico para tus hábitos, para cambiarte el sonido, para moldearte el oído. Tengo un bálsamo dulce como la realidad, para cambiarte por dentro, para ir sacando lo feo. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. Como hay que saber, a veces sientes todo un batallón, a veces la hormiga ruge al león, a veces Marte saca su color. Como hay que saber, no todo siempre se hace menester, y lo sagrado siempre ha de estar, así nosotros no podamos ver. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria.
La vida con su camino de espinas duele, te lleva por los cielos y otra vez se muerde y sí, te arrastra por los campos de la intolerancia. Agárrate fuerte cuando levante el salto o verás, abre tu alma y reconoce las señales que el universo va dejándote. Crece por dentro, no debes perder el tiempo, salta al abismo, te arrepentirás. Sí, llámame, si encuentras la receta, llámame. Compártela con tus hermanos y muéstrame los poemas que has escrito con la mano. Oh mamá, y cada vez lo veo más claro, que sabias fueron tus palabras y pocas veces te hice caso. Oh mamá, cómo van pasando los años, tanto tiempo fuera de casa, echo de menos tu garbanzo. Batalla larga la de comprender al hombre, camina siempre por el filo entre las sombras, sí, habita bien despacio el campo donde habita el miedo, hay un canuto y dale de fumar, respira con paciencia, siempre hay una vez primera, y cuando llegues saborea y luego grábalo, no escupas alto que después suele caer encima, si tienes frío arrímate al calor, y llámame, si encuentras la receta llámame, compártela con tus hermanos, y muéstrame los poemas que has escrito con la mano. Oh mamá, y cada vez lo veo más claro, que sabias fueron tus palabras y pocas veces te hice caso. Oh mamá, cómo van pasando los años, tanto tiempo fuera de casa, echo de menos tu garbanzo. Woo! Do you hear the music good?
Oh yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
it was really
amazing.
good, man.
Killing
I
it.
have to cameras because we don't know.
Okay.
I have time to play more music.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
Beautiful.
nice.
Let's give the mic to Vanessa and let's play some English music.
This was some kind of a new one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jah Rastafari, you are my salvation. You make me realize the love surrounding us all in every situation. You and I. Oh, Jah Rastafari, you are my salvation. You make me realize the love surrounding us all in every situation. You and I. Oh, so deep, so deep, so deep, so high. Hold on forever, forever. Hold on. Oh, you have given me everything I need to be free in this reality. Whoa, in this reality, yeah. Oh, Jah Rastafari, you are my salvation. You make me realize the love surrounding us all in every situation. You and I. Oh, Jah Rastafari, you are my salvation. You make me realize the love surrounding us all in every situation. You and I. on forever. Forever hold on.
Woo!
No sé si lo hago
Yes.
conmigo.
Oh, I don't know. Do you see the video?
Legendary.
I don't know. Do you see your video screen?
What do you mean?
If you see our video screen.
Now we see only something blue.
Oh.
Something blue.
And now we see
this.
you again.
Yeah.
Now you're back.
Yeah, I don't know why we have two cameras. Sorry, guys.
Y también nos vemos como azules.
We are blue.
Claro, pero por eso.
It's for the cinematic experience.
Me cansé de asomarme al abismo que habita dentro de mí. Y sentí como el peso que arrastraba de repente se marchó. Y encontré la manera de no hacerme daño en la oscuridad. Comprendí que a menudo hay tormentas donde la nube soy yo. Desde adentro hacia afuera se vive mejor. No me quieran detener. Préstame tan solo un poco de esa fea luz. Cuando ya no pueda más. Comprendí que debajo de un olivo el mundo se ve mejor. Pude ver que en los ojos de los perros ahora está la humanidad. Comprendí que tan solo soy un niño que solo quiere jugar. Y encontré una fórmula prohibida que se llama libertad. Desde adentro hacia afuera se vive mejor. No me quieran detener. Préstame tan solo un poco de esa bella luz. Cuando ya no pueda más. No te alejes, no, quédate cerca de mí, no te escondas ya, no te pierdas más, no te marches, no, que un minuto vale mucho más cuando el camino es contigo. No te alejes, no, quédate cerca de mí, no te escondas ya, no te pierdas más, no te marches, no, que un minuto vale mucho más cuando el camino es contigo. Préstame tan solo un poco de esa bella luz cuando ya no puedo más. Qué peculiar que tengas esa rara forma de pensar, que te preocupen cosas así, no estoy mal. La verdad existen momentos que no entiendo. Y refutar ese carácter con carácter de león, que hace reacción ya solo por meditación. Repito frases por dentro para calmarme, y tú después tienes siempre a ponerme contra la pared. A veces siento que solo es cuestión de estrés. Serena, nena, un poquito antes de hablarme, de lamentar que hagas de todo siempre una calamidad, y con eso tú me cambies la realidad, que tu libreto sea una obra del pasado. ¿Qué falsedad? Haces un drama de un programa de TV y yo cuestiono siempre todo lo que es. Quizás si es que estoy bien loco de remate. Qué peculiar que tengas esa rara forma de pensar, que te preocupen cosas así, no estén mal. La verdad existen momentos que no entiendo. Y refutar ese carácter con carácter de león, que hace reacción de solo por meditación. Repito frases por dentro para calmarme, y tú después tienes siempre a ponerme contra la pared. A veces siento que solo es cuestión de estrés. Serena, nena, un poquito antes de hablarme, de lamentar que hagas de todo siempre una calamidad, y con eso tú me cambies la realidad, que tu libreto sea una obra del pasado. Qué falsedad, haces un drama de un programa de TV y yo cuestiono siempre todo lo que es. Quizás si es que estoy bien loco de remate.
Bravo!
Bravo!
Family.
Great job. I love the music. It's got such energy. Every time you play, like it's so different, right? It like fills me full of like happiness. So I'm sitting here dancing. I love you guys. One of the things that is so different about your music that people might not realize is the 432 hertz.
Beautiful, brother. I really appreciate that you perceive that you hear that. 432 hertz music for me is a reivindication of geometry and wave as part of the same. It's a reivindication of science and art as part of the universe. And I'm very happy to do my music here with like-minded folks, because I think that with this we are keeping away from FOMO and holding the vibe, and that's all we have to hold.
Amazing. Thank you.
And seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as you say, the music like is so powerful because our bodies are energy, right? They are waves going out there into the world. So using the power of, like you say, music and frequency to adjust, like even slightly, it has a huge effect on like how our brain perceives it. Even if like people can't hear the difference, you can feel the difference.
Yeah, and something beautiful, I don't know if I already shared that with you, Penguin, is that I have a thesis as a sound engineer, and it's a infinite mathematical pattern of music. That's why I tune my guitar in 432 hertz. And that pattern of infinite music is what Platon in his time talked about it like the dance of the spheres, meaning that all of us have a way to dance, a way to do our own tacos, if you name it. We are all unique. So doesn't matter if we have the same ingredients, we have different hands, and that's the flavor that all of us have as individuals. So doing this music for me means to hold that vision for all of us.
Well, thank you so much for sharing it and holding that vision. I really appreciate it. And I think this is an amazing way to kick us off. Thank you so much.
Woo!
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to share that and make sure everyone else understood that.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you
good,
always been into music, or how did it start with you?
I started in music before. My first song, my mother wrote it for me because I didn't know how to write. I was like 5, and my mother is a songwriter for childs. She have a beautiful birthday song I always play on birthday. So if it's your birthday, just tell me, I will perform that for you. Music is a way to connect with my grandmother, with my mother. My grandmother is a TV actress of Venezuela, and she traveled to Mexico also. She was at Sesame Street back in the day, and she also teaches me how to be an eternal child, in those parts that are important, like to honor the present moment, to be be amazed by the present, to be always like eyes of always discovering, right? And to me, the music is connecting roots to the wireless through these tools. I connect with my family, I connect with the energy of my family, and I share that energy. So you call all connect with your roots. I think that's a mirror to share. Well, I love you guys.
Thank you. We love you too.
We love you
yeah, man, we love you, bro.
So we got about another 15 more minutes. If you would like to play a little more, and then I think that the eternal child is such a great idea as well, and like one of the things that we need to keep constant of. Thank you.
I would love to share a song. The name is No Winter's Land, an original song I made 2 years ago with a couple of friends. We made this song for a contest on Defi, yield farming contest. They have a creative contest, and we wanted to go to the Amazon, and we earned the second place, and we ate like $800. So we pack and we go to the Amazon. We split that reward between 4 musicians, and we all go to the Amazon. So I'm going to share that song because the song No Winter's Land, it's about that here in Venezuela we don't have winter. We have an eternal spring. So I want to share that energy, and if it is winter in your soul or in your environment, I hope this song could head you up and make you feel union, No Winter's Land. We are the farmers of no winter's land, settling the fire of love. We are the farmers of no winter's land, setting the fire of love. Aquí estamos los sembradores, cuidadores de la tierra, donde el invierno no existe y se derretirá tu pena, transmitiendo todo el fuego que se encuentra en las semillas de la unión. Aquí estamos los sembradores, cuidadores de la tierra, donde el invierno no existe y se derretirá tu pena, transmitiendo todo el fuego que se encuentra en las semillas de la unión. Tenemos la semilla, corazón, vamos levantando una oración, que la disponga a germinar, semilla para el despertar. Que tenemos la semilla, corazón, vamos levantando una oración, que la disponga a germinar, sonido para el despertar, sonido para el despertar, sonido para el despertar, sonido para el despertar. We are the farmers of no winter's land, sending the fire of love. We are the farmers of no winter's land, sending the fire of love. Viene el sol radiante desterrando oscuridad. El invierno solo existe para agradecer al sol. Cierra el círculo y disfruta de la orquesta de la vida y el calor. Viene el sol radiante desterrando oscuridad. El invierno solo existe para agradecer al sol. Cierra el círculo y disfruta de la orquesta de la vida y el calor. Cierra el círculo y disfruta de la orquesta de la magia y el amor. Tenemos la semilla, corazón, vamos levantando una oración, que la disponga a germinar, semilla para el despertar, semilla para el despertar, semilla para el despertar, semilla para el despertar.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! Yes. Woo!
Yeah, amazing.
That was so good, man.
Sending fire.
Yeah, man.
I can feel that. The spring, I can feel that. Yeah, man.
The mythology of Prometheus, do you know about it?
I do know a little bit of it. Last year we had some of our Patagonian friends that were talking about the fires last year, where the mining companies had set fire to some of the villages to help and pass laws where they can continue mining, basically attacking the villages with fire.
Yeah, that's like the opposite of Prometheus mythology, but yeah, it kind of works as an example of what we don't have to do. But the Prometheus, it was like a guy that has a lot of free time to think about what is going to happen in 3 months by now. You know, people right now is starving and they are not growing food. You know, it's not a good picture. So he says, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to climb up to the Olympus and I'm going to steal that fire, because it's not possible. Yeah. This is happening, so I'm going to do it. He do it, and the gods were really mad at him because how it's possible he's helping humanity, right? It's supposed that only the elite have the fire.
He wanted to free the fire.
Yeah.
Humanity.
It's a fire of knowledge of the spirit. You know, at the end,
He was punished for that.
At the end, Prometheus was punished by that, but he doesn't care a shit either. But he was really having a hard time in that moment. An eagle was eating his liver every day, and every day his liver renew itself to the point that the eagle has to eat it again.
So he was going to suffer eternally for freeing the fire.
Yeah, eternally paining the liver. That's also some medicine there.
Yeah, there's always been kind of the crucifixion of people sharing information and democratizing freedom, right? There's a big power even with our mythology, right, of people having power, not wanting to give it up or share things that could make the world better for everyone. Yeah. Even as you're saying with Prometheus and stealing the fire, the gods didn't want to give man fire or tools that they needed to survive in the harsh reality. But Web3 is all about sharing and making sure that we all have that information and tools that we need, and making sure that the people that are going to come and capitalize on us aren't holding all those tools for themselves. So yeah, everything that we're doing is about stealing that fire and giving it back to the people that need fire rather than the people that already have it.
Yeah, man, I'm really happy to hear you and hear always all this type of information of communication
beautiful
here.
Exchange.
Beautiful exchange, yeah. And I believe that, it's like independent producers aligning together. And it was like Prometheus was an independent producer.
Yeah.
I want to share a last song if I still have the time. This song is for every artisan, every person that is an artist that creates, because, the process of creation is not soft. We came to live so we can get born, so we can get the forge. You can forge us worth without fire, without head, and without hammers. So life is sometimes rough because we are shaping ourselves to what we have to be. So, El Artesano, for all of you.
Mirar con ojos de artesano, sí, sería lo que me haría un poeta diferente a lo mortal. Sería un amor tan bonito, sería un amor distinto a lo que se puede tocar. Y sabría que es amor porque es incondicional, revirtiendo los hechizos de tu boca escupe fuego. Y sabría que es amor porque busques integrar, evocaría el sentimiento de la unión y de los sueños. Sabría que le estoy hablando al amor porque me estoy hablando a mí para conectar contigo. Desde la fuerza de un latir con dirección y sentido, me escucharías hasta el silencio sórdido de los caminos eternos. Y sabría que los momentos pesados a voluntad se hacen ligero. Como artesano me toca sudar, me toca romper, me toca quemar. Como artesano me toca sudar, me toca toser, me toca sangrar. Como artesano me toca doler, me toca volver, me toca curar. Como artesano me toca entrever entre los dos planos de la realidad. Como artesano me toca curar, me toca romper, me toca quemar. Como artesano me toca sudar, me toca toser, me toca sangrar. Como artesano me toca doler, me toca romper, me toca curar. Como artesano me toca entrever entre los dos planos de la realidad.
Yes.
Oh, the vibe.
Awesome. Killing it.
I'm so happy to share the music from you. So happy.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing the music and bringing the vibe. Awesome energy. Thank you so much. I think even the positivity of like while you're moving out and all this stuff, it just shows like, a lot of people are like really high stress during that time. And you know, you took the time to sit down, play some music with us, share your energy. Thank you so much. It's so positive today, even while you know there's so much going on. So I really appreciate you sharing this time with us.
I'm so happy to share here because metagame is one of those.
Thank you. Yeah, metagame is like one of the best parts of Web3 for me too, because it's like a mixing of people and ideas coming together for you know philosophy, pretty much, you know, to build the religion of sharing and caring for each other.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here and so honored to open this MetaFest with music and positivity.
Well, thank you both, Jose and Vanessa. Thank you so much.
When is the album dropping?
Oh, we yeah, you know, we are going
The real
to move.
questions, you know.
You know, I have this. I'm going to share this unboxing. I have this audio interface, right? But I need headphones. It's still my barrier, you know. But I already have these. We have a nice computer. You know, we are going to record. We are going to record here. We have a nice computer. We can do to make movies. We can do movies with the computer, but I still need headphones so I can start recording, getting the data. And I want to deploy my own NFT contract so I can do every time one person buys one of my pieces, we can start a roadmap to create a social impact project. So I want my music to be a bridge for bridges. I want my music to be a way to get funding for foundations to do local impact in different areas. So, you know, I still don't know how to deploy my contract, but I know that that's how I would love to develop it. I don't know if through Emanate I could get revenue shares so I can split among the people that buys these NFTs. You know, like for life, you can earn from this NFT music I'm going to do. But I still need to figure out how in this barrier to me that is coding in a computer.
Well, that's the part that a lot of us can help with, and you're doing the right thing. So you know, definitely reach out to me after this, and we can talk about smart contracts. You know, make sure that you have any of that stuff because, you know, as I said, it's about empowering the right people and helping you guys out. Yeah, I think that the programming is definitely something that people in the community will be happy to help with, myself as well. What about a Gitcoin grant or Giveth? Do you have a Gitcoin grant up that people could donate to as well to help support your efforts?
No, I still don't use these tools, but you know, Vanessa have been really in touch with like Kevin Owoki, all about Gitcoin. We are preparing ourselves because yeah, I have these ideas for my music, but we are always thinking about DAO solutions for all our local community. You know, we are maybe the bridge, but you know, it's not about putting my music. I already play my music. I am already ready with my music. I feel happy to have my music. Now what I want is to open the channels to my community. The Wotuha community, for example, in the Venezuelan Amazon, they create structures without the use of nails. ¿Cómo se dice? Without the use of nails. They have a really beautiful connection with the earth that I know it's value, not only for the blockchain, but for me as well while I do the bridge, you know? So I it's like, yeah, I'm an artist. In this surface, I do music, I vibe, but also I have a producer inside of me that wants to create this bridge is solution for communities that have needs as I have needs, but it's like, I don't know. I'm going to share with you all of these ideas so you can help me out in the code level that I know is the barrier I have.
Well, yeah, I think understanding like where we need help with and asking the right people is like how we overcome those together. And that all is done through sharing fire, right? We have the fire, we have to share it. So great job, and thank you so much again.
Adiwa.
Thank you guys. Adiwa.
Take it easy.
I will also, before you head out, I'll say that Gitcoin is having matching rounds right now. So if someone donates $1 to you, it could be $15 to $20 depending upon money. So I would definitely recommend that you create a grant and go fill it out right now, because
right now,
yeah, Gitcoin is doing the matching rounds right now until the 23rd. So the entire time of MetaFest, is a great time to get donations, and we're going to definitely recommend some positive grants. So yeah, I'd recommend that you go there and shoot me a DM, and I'd be happy to donate to it as well.
Beautiful friend, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
So happy to share music here and share everything.
Thank you.
Such nice vibes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Make sure to stick around.
Yeah, I'm going to be here hearing.
Someone wants to join us here. Should we? I'm not sure who it is though.
So next up is peth. I've reached out to him. I doesn't seem to be available right now, but I think that we're going to be talking about where are we? Why are we here? Where are we going? So it's going to be a quick recap of kind of the seasons and what's happened in the past year. There's been a lot of changes to metagame, and it just like water or fire, we're very dynamic, and I think the way that people move is really kind of dynamic too, changes with the seasons. So a lot has changed, but a lot is also still the same. And I think the same is true for any organizations. They go through different changes and different periods where sometimes there's a boom, sometimes there's a lull, and it takes key contributors that are there for non-intrinsic purposes to kind of push things along, and people that are kind of committed and to see something through. And so it's much like any relationship, it's out of love, right, that holds things together, and duty, and I think friendship. One of the big things that metagame provides is an outlet for all of these interests and creativities that we have. And so part of where we're going and where we've been has been a group journey. So I think that the Dev Connect was a big step forward and where we are now, and showing the longevity. Metagame has survived a little over 2 years now. I think the tail of 2019 is when it started. We did a virtual festival in 2020. Intercon was the first virtual conference that I attended, and it was right on the heels of COVID-19. It's kind of where everything spun up with the DAO ecosphere. A lot of the work from the MetaCartel ecosystem was set up before that, but then as people were forced to stay inside and lead digital lives, we saw the big boom in crypto from 2020. Obviously, now that people have gotten over a little of the hype, And we've seen us kind of enter the bear market, but the people that were here building and that were here before the bear market and bull market are still here building, and they're still doing exactly what they could. And every day they're out there grinding and learning, and myself as well, and you guys too. That's one of the things I love about metagame is it harnesses a culture of people doing cool things and doing it because they want to be doing them. And so the same is true of any DAO or an organization, is that you find people that are committed and love doing what they're doing, and that's how an organization survives. So metagame right now is obviously surviving. We're thriving on the kind of the network of builders, and onboarding people is always something that we strive to do. So we have been trying to raise some funds to support onboarding people into Web3, making it fun, getting them connected to the right ethos, and making sure that they understand that it's about connecting people and doing things the right way, rather than it is about extracting value from other people. So, the big part about this conference and where we're going to go is empowering other communities. So my meta profiles are coming up, and they're reaching a point where we can share them with other audiences. I believe we'll hear more about my meta and the progress that metagame has made on a lot of the raids at some point during MetaFest. Does anyone else want to talk about kind of where metagame is at now and where it's going to go for them? Are you guys here?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Okay.
I don't feel qualified enough to answer that question.
Metagame is live. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Everything about metagame is like what you make of it, And I think everyone is qualified because one of the big secrets about metagame is that the game is actually a life. So the meta is how to get better at that. Every game's got a meta. You just got to figure out which meta you want to play. So you're always qualified to determine which path you want to take in life. No one should have that power over you to tell you which meta you have to play. If you want to play a red deck with burn and some cancel, you're allowed to, man. You can be a Zerg too. Play how you want to play.
A Zerg and what?
Yeah, so I think there's a big kind of like a culture of gaming that's kind of ingrained in a lot of the modern language too. And you might hear some stuff that doesn't make sense during MetaFest. A lot of people use RPG and gamer terminology to explain some of the stuff that we're going through. So you'll hear people talk about their guilds, which are groups of people, much like a DAO. We'll talk about our raid parties, which, much like Dungeons and Dragons, is it's a group of people that goes out and solves a hairy problem. Sometimes it's putting on a virtual conference. Sometimes it's developing new web interfaces or smart contracts. So there's different terminologies that you'll hear. And Zerg is a StarCraft reference from someone might not have heard. It means someone that rushes and is vicious. But maybe additional pylons are required for some of the references. Tell me about your meta. What are we playing this year?
So
what we playing?
there's many ways to speak about this, about where we are right now and where we're going. And I'd say that's on a higher level. If we're seeing like what metagame is as a living organism from above, what's happening, it seems that it has been some territories inside have been better defined, and where we were working on the software, where we were working on all these bridge building events, it seems like now we have these groups that can become their own thing inside metagame and can have like their sort of independence inside it. Like it's bringing birth to the smaller systems inside of it. For example, I see that there's my meta, which is the product we're building, but there's also like these smaller integrations that people are working on, like the DAO quest that Vid is working on, along with Dan and a lot of other people, and they're dispersing and they are connected by metagame as the glue. But it's really interesting to see this, that they are acquiring nature of their own. So I guess there will be this moment of this dispersion in metagame, which is not a dissolution. It is just this. We've been talking about decentralization, but there's also this concept of polycentric organizations, which is like not just one central node that where all information and all work and all energy goes towards that, and it's like overseeing everything else through this like pyramidal managerial structure. But these many centers, they may have like a small scale. There may be centers at a small scale, but on the bigger scale, they're nodes in a network. And so it's interesting to see this happening in metagame, at least from a high-level perspective, which is the one that I can talk about more comfortably. And there's also the issue of where are we going in this space in general and how we fit into it. And it seems like this discourse about solarpunk is starting to emerge. It's not starting to emerge. It was there for a long time, but it's starting to acquire meme status, and it's getting out into into a more mainstream territory, I would say, which is very interesting to see. And well, the thing then is this the future that we want to build?
I think it is. I think, and for those people that don't know, solar punk, it's kind of like steampunk, where the world has moved on, but instead of it moving on in a bad way and falling apart, we've harnessed the power of renewable energy to make a better future rather than destroying it. And it's actually the theme of ETH Prague this year. So, I think it's perfect time to be talking about solar punk. And I think that the culture does need to adopt that. We've seen a lot of push towards weaponizing energy. The gas price, I don't know about you, but in California is $7 a gallon almost.
What?
Yeah. So
holy moly.
I mean, times are definitely changing, and the need to have electric cars and sustainable solutions is real, and it's a time that we can't ignore it. Definitely the weathers are changing. Right by the beach, there was just firestorms here in California too. Every year is larger and larger fires, and the storms are getting bigger, but we've got to make some changes. Luckily, I've been driving electric this whole time, so the gas prices, I feel for people. It's going to become unsustainable right now, So that's why solar punk and changes that help people avoid these costly futures is critical that people start adopting renewable energies and renewable thought patterns instead of letting people monetize our air. It's almost like Spaceballs, right? People are gonna start breathing the canned air. I know.
Oh my gosh, that happens already in like certain parts of the world, man. Like I'm pretty sure Canada does sell like jarred air to people. It's crazy.
I know I've used it too. When I'm out like skiing or something, you're up in the mountains. It's important to have it because you know, altitude is real.
In a jar.
In a
in a jar. Yeah.
What concerns me about this whole change, though, it seems that there will be a change eventually towards a move away from oil, move away from coal, move away from
resources.
all this finite and very scarce and increasingly scarce resources that are also very CO2 like they're very hard. They're very polluting, let's say. But what concerns me is the geopolitical landscape that's going to emerge out of this, because so many economies have based their wealth on oil. This, especially in the Middle East, but also in Europe, like Norway has this incredible conditions, incredible infrastructure that it has right now, because it once found natural resources of oil really close to it, and then they went in and actually utilized them, and now, like, they played it smart with oil, but now, like, we cannot no longer sustain this infinite game, and it seems that to be penetrating also the decisions that are being made by nations and by continents and by this entities like the European Union. And I'm like, what do you think that energy, like green energy, is sustainable to go into this in the next 5 years or 10 years?
Well, I mean, honestly, it feels like the economic war and like the chaos that's happened is directly related to some of the fallout between Ukraine and Russia, and why you see such a terrible destruction and looting is probably because, you know, of the damage that's been done by years of recession that we've all had to endure because of COVID. You know, I think there's been a lot of pent-up aggression and hostility and people kind of trying to survive rather than getting to live for years now. And you see it kind of spilling out in terrible ways. But it doesn't mean that we don't need to do better, you know, and we don't need to make steps in the right direction. It just means that the world is suffering right now and that the people in it are suffering. And I think the people are treating it like a game, you know, especially at the nation level. It's a lot of pieces that you can't risk tipping the balance, or, you know, no one wants thermonuclear war, obviously. Like that just means that we all die. But you know, obviously where we're going has to be with compromise, and it has to be with people being willing to compromise and work towards positive goals. But to get there, people have to get over the point of just surviving.
Yeah, exactly.
Oni, are you upside down on purpose?
Am I upside down?
You're flipped.
Horizontally.
Really?
Yeah, you're horizontally flipped. Not vertically though. You're not upside down.
That's interesting, because I don't see myself that way. See, perspective plays weird games with you,
You're
right?
side down. Side side.
Really?
Again.
So that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Was I? all this
What's
time.
up, Pete?
Hope
It's like you inputted negative values.
No, cameras are always tricky like that. It's one of the hard parts about it. Even with phones, you'll notice it's because it's all done with mirrors, smoke and mirrors. No smoke, just mirrors.
I mean, technically, we see upside down, right? Like our brains, like woo, flip it for us, but the eyes. Yeah. So when you look at a spoon, you're actually looking correct. Yeah. Don't try to bend the spoon. You know, Matrix reference.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with this last Matrix. It felt like the machines wrote that one. They was like,
Yeah, definitely
Propaganda.
Hope is gone. Don't worry.
Oh my goodness.
But
We can't see you, Piotr.
The more and more that I hear about virtual reality and the way that people talk about it, the more it feels like the Matrix sometimes. Especially if Mark Zuckerberg talks about it and he's talking about people will plug into it and feed their emotions into it and will map their brain. Map that with the brain link that Elon can put in your head. And
but he's doing his best to make it all creepy. With his like speech patterns and just general appearance, he's like a pure lizard.
You have to click on mute, my friend.
It's like uncanny valley. You are muted, Piotr.
We have visual.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Who's poppin'?
Met Connect.
Met Connect.
Awesome. Meta Connect. We were talking about Amsterdam and Dev Connect earlier. How awesome that was. How many of us there were. I think how many dudes were in the house?
Too many dudes in the house.
There's a lot of people. We were just talking about kind of where metagame's been, where we're at now, and then we devolved into world politics and solar punk and some crazy stuff.
Makes sense. Sounds meta.
Very meta. I asked them what kind of meta they were playing this year, and where they see the play being for life this year.
It's a good question. What is the best answer that you received?
I think that's where we went into politics. Solar punk and being considerate of like philosophy and where we are in the world was a pretty good answer. I got another one that said that they had no idea what they were going to do this year, what their meta was. They weren't qualified to talk about their meta this year. My meta this year is going to be to keep pushing. I've got some projects coming out, but it's going to be to kind of finalize some of the stuff, really get back and push on more of these projects. That's a pretty crazy 130.
Makes sense. I mean, what else is there to do?
Yeah, I'm here to build, so I'm going to keep doing it no matter what the market does.
That's the right idea.
Exactly.
I think our discussion can lead with ease into what you, Peth, were going to speak about where are we, why are we here, and where are we going? Because we do want to know. We do want to know. We do want to remind ourselves. Is the right way to put it?
We do, because it kind of goes back. Do you want to transition to that, or do we continue talking?
Yeah, let's transition. Unless.
All right. This is here. Mm-hmm. Let's have some inception in here. Oh, where is everybody gone? You left me here all alone.
I'm still here.
We're
If you
all
needed
here.
support, yeah, sorry.
There's more people than ever before.
Yeah, I know. That's a little bit of a rough transition into the planning. Sorry, Pete.
Oh, no. I'm just joking. Let's get into this. So this presentation is kind of not directly about metagame, although it is. Like I wanted to make it a general Web3 presentation. Then, as I was working on it, it was turning into a metagame presentation, and I tried to keep it not metagame presentation, but it still eventually became metagame presentation. Just go on. So starting with the very basics, I know that there probably isn't anybody here who isn't already familiar with these things. But yeah, the cool thing when it started with the Bitcoin, the cool thing about it is that it was the first decentralized currency. There was nobody to just create new coins. There was no like administrator, nobody to print new coins. It's just like the system that produces it based on what it's programmed to do. And then you had Ethereum, which is the same principle except programmable. So you can, instead of just moving numbers around, you can make it do anything. I'm hearing some bumps. Is that somebody DMing me that the presentation is not working or my sound is shit?
No, I believe that was just Misanth joining. Sorry.
All right, that's good. So previously we had the centralized servers that were easily exploitable both internally and externally, and you had the centralized databases that aren't getting along, so you couldn't really make applications that are interoperable and generally make things the databases that were walled gardens, so you can just access data through different platforms and build cool things. Instead, people just like these big centralized organizations just hoarding data. And now we have this globally accessible decentralized database that's allowing us the creation of decentralized application organizations. And so there are a lot of possibilities, starting from the most basic ones like the tokens, which can be anything from like decentralized currency to like a share of the company, of organization. It can be gold. It can really be whatever. Then you have DeFi, the like building of a new financial system. The current right now is not even just primitives, but yeah, it started with building the primitives, such as we have the basics like the just lending and borrowing, and now there's a lot of things being built on top of that. So we have a lot of cool things in the DeFi space, and then the refi is kind of adding the regenerative component on top of it. So we have the not just a financial system, but financial system that's either sending some of the profit to something regenerative, or just a completely regenerative project that has like it has some financial shenanigans going on, but it's really about regenerating something. And you have the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, which people hear NFTs, they think it's just art or like profile pictures, but there's so more that they can be, like anything from access keys to like real world asset. They can be real estate, they can be really whatever, like a digital representation of a real world asset. So we're starting to see it now. Like up until just like a year ago, it wasn't possible, but now we have with projects like Ethereum, where you can directly tie the digital asset to the legal world. so it's enforceable in like actual courts. And to me, like the most exciting possibility are the DAOs, the decentralized organizations, which I will get into deeper a bit later. But there are also a lot of problems that we have. The technical problems, which are like the high fees, high energy consumption, which we're getting a lot of slack for, and challenging UX with the key management and stuff like that. Which the technical problems actually worry me less. They're being solved, and like the high fees are being solved with layer 2s, transitioning to proof of stake. The high energy consumption will go away with that transition. Challenging UX, we'll see there's some innovation going on in like non-custodial wallets, like storing the key phrase and shit like that. But yeah, stuff is happening, problems getting solved. But then, yeah, on the more social side, where you have the fork of a fork of a fork, where people just take code of another DeFi project or whatever other project and just slap on a new token and let people farm that new token without innovating in any way, just copying a project. And then you have the same shit going on in the NFT space, where people are just taking code, and like you have the Bored Ape Club, then you had like 100 different versions of that, from the most bored apes to the most boring apes. And yeah, other than that, just in general, scams and rug pulls. That's kind of become normal in the space, because yeah, it's it can be anonymous, there's a lot of money at stake, and just it's kind of easy to scam people, unfortunately. And like as a space, we've been building and building, but we rarely stop to ask ourselves, what is it really all for? So we have this general devolution to profit maximization being the main goal, and it's in general making it hard to make newcomers understand what the space is really about, like why we got here in the first place, what excites us about this space. And so the way we've been trying to fight this in the space is with memes. So it started with, we had like the world computer, which was the first meme for what Ethereum is, which is kind of not really true, because if you tried using Ethereum to compute something, then you must be incredibly rich or have a lot of time on your hands. And then you have the ultrasound money, which is kind of the play on Bitcoin being the sound money, which is just like money that isn't inflationary. And here the play was, okay, this is ultrasound money, so it's money that is deflationary. And it's like, okay, cool, like deflationary money, number up, everybody likes number going up, but it's not exactly inspiring and not what I'm personally here for. Then you have the starting of the transition from degen to regen. You know, in the DeFi space, there's been a lot of degening. So for those who are new to the space and don't know what degen means, it's degen is a person who just jumps into any project that's promising the highest returns, and they take a lot of risk for that. They quote unquote ape in. And the regen meme is just trying to put a spin on it, which is just getting people to transition from being degenerate, from degenerating to becoming regenerative. And I think in the worst case, we can say they can be projects that are still attracting degens, but have a project that's like, it might still lose people money, like because it's a high risk project and people accept that it's a high risk project, but at least maybe a percentage of that money is getting siphoned to something regenerative. And just like my favorite meme, which is this Moloch, fighting Moloch. And people who haven't heard about Moloch or have heard about Moloch and just think it's a god of child sacrifice, you should go read about, you should go read the meditations on Moloch, or at least the summary article of the meditations of Moloch, on Moloch. But really who Moloch is in this story is a symbol of human, like he's the god of coordination failure, or yeah, just a symbol of how humans fail at coordinating and solving common problems. So it's about so coordination. So the meme that you are all familiar with, that I forked from Mr. Wacky. Why are we here? So why I got here in this first place is just thinking about the possibilities of these new decentralized systems and decentralized organizations, and thinking about like what if every local business was a DAO, and these DAOs had different like boards of tasks that they need completed, the board with ideas for like adding new things to the business, things like that, or like the governmental services were DAOs and they were actually managed transparently, or the city itself was a DAO and the citizens were voting on what's needed and allocating where the tax money should go. And what if the value itself in a society was programmed to flow towards projects that regenerate ecosystems and communities, and there were these sort of honeypots for people who can just go out, do good things. And what if flowers grew out of Moloch's ass? And it's kind of still wishful thinking, because yeah, all of these are possibilities of the future, but we're still in the present where most of the things in the DAO space are still coming up, and we have like the basics, but yeah, we're still getting there. So we should first come up with better ways to self-organize and solve our own problems. We try to apply these solutions to the real world and trying to get local governments to accept our solutions, which are kind of still inexistent, like not really applicable, because not great to use. So things actually working, we are getting there, but we are not quite there yet. And to recap, so first we had decentralized currencies, and then out of that we had decentralized finance and applications. Then we had decentralized organizations. So what's next? And these decentralized societies or groups of decentralized organizations. But not to get too ahead of ourselves, and kind of seems obvious that the next step, these networks of DAOs, and a lot of people are building these different pieces to build these decentralized societies, different building blocks. And yeah, when first started Metagame, we thought we would just put these pieces together, but then as we started building it, we realized that a lot of these pieces don't exist yet. So the first thing that we put together is a thing called MetaSys, which we used for accounting for value for contributions to the project and rewarding people. So it's sort of like a minimum viable economic system. It's tracking contributions, rewarding contributions by minting tokens on Ethereum, and then adding liquidity for those tokens through an automated market maker. We are using a balancer for, so using SourceCred minting tokens through whatever you want to mint tokens, and we're using a balancer, which then we used to start building the rest of Metagame with this basic system. And then the first building block, or you could say MetaSys was the first building block that we put together, but we did more work on MyMeta, which are decentralized profiles. So like if we are building this decentralized world, like we need decentralized profiles that aren't owned by Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, profiles that are actually owned by the people whose profiles they are. So these MyMeta profiles are profiles based on Ceramic that are sort of like LinkedIn pages for people who want to work in DAOs or people who are working in DAOs, and they display things like what skills you have, what DAOs you're a member of, what NFTs you have, also like what DAOs you, in terms of what DAOs you're a member of, but also what role you have in that DAO, or what's your status in that DAO, like how much XP you have, what's your share in the DAO, what's your time zone, what's your time availability, other things like that, and features that are coming up, like the Meta Collab, which you'll hear more about in one of the upcoming sessions, but it's about allowing people to set up contracts between each other that are disputable through a third party, and like they have escrow, which is optional, which will then allow people to basically do business or hire each other directly through their profiles without having to trust the person, because they have this contract between each other. Oh, not back. We need to go forward. So there are a lot of these building blocks, like we are building my meta, and there are a lot of other people building a lot of other building blocks. And then you have these situations of a lot of building blocks that are in a lot of different places, a lot of different websites, and it's kind of all I've pinned messages in Discord channels with 20 links to these different pages. It's not exactly intuitive to navigate. Like if you want to start a DAO, you first have to learn about this whole ecosystem and find all these different building blocks. Oh my God, dogs decided to fight right now. Big doggo. And then, like, once you find all of these building blocks and you start using them, it's still like all these blocks that are in different places, and it's hard to make use of them. And so we have this problem in metagame, which we started solving by building a thing called MetaOS, which is really about bringing all of these different pieces together through a mega menu and a modular dashboard. And then right now it's like start with just some like a lot of the tools that we're still using are Web 2 until Web3 alternatives are built. So we're using different integrations, which is not ideal, but really the long-term idea is to replace all these different pieces with Web3 native integrations and allow people to build these different widgets for their profiles and the dashboard, and just have this interface that makes it easy for people to keep track of what's going on in different DAOs that they're a member of, to make it easier to navigate, to find tasks that are open or open roles, things like that. And that sort of transition to talking about metagame itself. So the way I explain MetaOS itself is just this open source framework for running composable communities, so that other communities will be forking MetaOS and like customizing it to their own needs. But the idea is that all of these Web3 building blocks are interoperable. And then with metagame is just building on top of MetaOS. So we are building metagame on it, and metagame is about finding all these different resources for people who want to get involved in the DAO space, to make it easier for them to get onboarded, find different DAOs, find work, upskill, and just keep track of what's going on. And we're building this massive online coordination game that starts as this onboarding system and a decentralized factory where we are bringing together different DAOs that are either building something cool or offering services to people who are building something cool, and just trying to onboard people. But as you might have guessed from previous slides, the long-term idea is really to support and build this decentralized society. So having this metagame being as one of the interfaces for interacting with this decentralized society. There I go, back again. So now what? So hopefully we'll be just one of many communities who are experimenting with assembling all these building blocks into platforms that make sense and into coherent visions of better futures. And what I think is just we need more people to come up with these visions and just start building things and make it easier to create these different building blocks and DAOs and start putting these things into platforms, because right now we are still we are using Twitter for like interacting outside of our communities, and we are using Discord for interacting within our communities, and it's both of those are shit for actually doing things. They're not weren't platforms that weren't made for what we are using them for. And I think overall what we need to do is just set great examples for what these society built on crypto would look like. And obviously with great power comes great responsibility. So there's a lot of money at stake. and people who come here that think they can make money, and they just get scammed out of their money, and people losing money. There's a shit ton of scams, and just getting bad reputation for the ecosystem. And like in the non-scammy parts of the space, like you have like no metaverse game that has ever experimented with the Herburger stacks, you should go look up what that is. I'm not gonna go through that because already talking too much. Wealth inequality, which is worse than in the real world. You have most DAOs that are turning out to be plutocracies. Crypto in general, it seems to be devolving into just ever more money games, and overall, like, who wants to invest in local communities and economies when the APY is barely 2 digits? And so then we ask ourselves, like, are we building new systems, or are we just replicating the old? And so what is this place? And how I personally see it is just a place that started as full of idealism and smart and optimistic people. Then with every bull run, it got shittier and more dangerous with more treasure hunters and scammers. And I think we can get back there with DAOs and good memes, and just turn this over time wild web into a web of opportunity. And so to me, Web3 is really about building new socioeconomic system. And then previously we had revolutionizing the world, which was happening through revolutions that were violent and bloody, that were creating power vacuums, or the people who would rise up would basically the situation would soon be either the same as it was, often it was even worse, and just not great overall. And currently you have just a lot of people who are revolutionizing the world by building these new systems peacefully, just creating an alternative to the current system. And yeah, when we are done, we can just slowly transition to this new system rather than having to overthrow. So we need to just overgrow the old system. And that's it. Thank you for listening.
All
Thanks,
right.
Keith.
Here.
I think that was a great review of everything that's happened so far, from blockchains to a lot of the problems that we're facing today. I think fighting Moloch is a really good meme. I think you touched on it pretty well too, is that a lot of the concepts that we say, they're not like one-to-one mappings of things. They are memes. They're things that help people understand complicated concepts in a way that you can just say a couple words. And I think that goes back to like what I said earlier about using different terminology for things. And like as we describe new problems, we have to have new language to describe how to solve them. And coordination and DAOs and stuff, if they're just a buzzword to people, then they're not using them effectively.
Soulbound tokens.
Yeah. Soulbound tokens, right? It's like there's been a big suggestion that DAO shares are things like soulbound tokens as well. There's a whole bunch of definitions and like how people use tools rather than just what they say that matters. And so that's one of the things I love about metagame, is like we actually dive into using these tools and kind of see how can we use them, what are the limitations, how are other people using them, and kind of build a platform that is exploratory and testing these out and making sure that we're understanding how to use these new tools.
Right. And helping newcomers understand all these buzzwords, crazy lingo that sometimes may even be unnecessary, but we still come up with these words because they're cool.
So I want to remind that anybody can pop their question in YouTube or in Discord.
So what do you think about all of the virtual worlds and stuff like that? Do you like them? I know one of the original visions for metagame was making like a meta village and having virtual worlds like that. Do you still feel that that's something that we should push towards? And do you like the virtual worlds and kind of? I think this year we're gonna have at least 3 new metaverses. Do you think any of them are going to kind of come close to what we need?
I think we do need some kind of a nice representation of what we're building rather than just a website. And that's part of why. And just like nicer places to hang out, like in the Atlantis world, where you can just walk up to people and talk, and then it sort of emulates a meetup or a conference rather than just 100 people being in a single channel, and you can't really walk around and hear other people. But I'm personally more interested in like building in the real world. Like every time that somebody comes in and is like, "Hey, so metagame is a metaverse game," then a little part of me dies. Because I'm personally really not about virtual worlds. I think they're cool and useful, and we should be building cool things inside that. But I'm personally really more about connecting things in the real world. So long term, I see metagame connecting. I mean, we already have a few in the network, these sort of eco villages and smart villages, whatever you want to call them. So really want us to build not just villages, but just hacker houses and small like ranches, places like that, that I think we should start onboarding soon, and really long term have this whole network of physical locations that are sort of pockets of alternative economies where people can go between these places, live there, contribute there, and there's a system outside the system, basically. That's not just all virtual.
It's certainly like there's a. Although I like the innovation that's happening, the metaverse, there's a real danger there that we approach it as a substitute to embodied existence, in a sense, rather than a different way of interaction. So this is like a form of existential escapism right there. And like, I don't know if in the future it will be more mixed, because there's also this this possibility of mixing the interoperability that metaverse spaces afford with real life interaction. And maybe this is an avenue that's we could also explore in the future.
Yeah, we're gonna hear more about actually precisely that from future thinkers who are building a smart village, and so they are building an actual village, but they're also building like a 3D version of the village in one of the metaverse games, and then they're going to be mapping it with like obviously everything that's in the real world, but also like tasks that can be done in the digital world, but also tasks that people can do when they get to their actual village. And they're connecting with other villages, trying to get other villages to also like build their own 3D instances of what they're building and connecting to each other. But yeah, I think that's very cool. And on the other side, as you said, there's dangers of people using it to escape and just spending time in the virtual world. And the more immersive it becomes, the more the more dangerous it is that people would be spending more time there rather than regenerating the real world. And I've actually seen a great tweet yesterday, which was something like, the powers that be want you to buy the virtual world land and items while they buy the actual real world land.
I know, they already have bought it. That was there.
I think it also brings back, like, it's all about what people do, right? And even these goals, like, people can talk all day, but in the end, it matters what people do. And if people say one thing and they don't deliver, then it doesn't matter. It's part of like Moloch, is like wasting time. So having the connection between getting something done in the virtual world and getting something done in the real world, like, they're both positive goals. You can take the same steps and you can have a virtual mapping of the stuff that you need to do, and like connecting the positive things that you need to do versus just wasting time. and just talking is like the balance that people need to shift. You need to shift away from, like, you need to obviously understand, but if you've been talking for 2 years and not building, then you're probably still in the same place.
Right. Yeah. One of the crazy ideas that I had for a metagame long term is having this like actual game that's sort of a mix between something like SimCity and Eco. I don't know if you've seen Eco, but it's like Minecraft except a lot more complicated. Like you have actual ecosystems that you need to take care of. There's politics. There's like currencies. It's a crazy game. But the basic idea is that would combine with something like that, and then people will be as they work in metagame, which is like producing real world value, and then at the end of the day, they get the amount of money that they earn in metagame. They get the same amount of money inside the virtual world that they can then spend on upgrading their house or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's important to have ways for people to express themselves too. And I think that's the part that it feels the most like impactful for the metaverse. Is it'll be a ways for people to have a shop and sell and do the things that they wanted to do. Like when I first saw voxels, like that was the first thing that I thought of, is like, this is a 3D web page. I can drop my YouTube videos in here. I can drop links to anything from my store. It felt like real estate, but on a computer. And it brought me back to like the first time I was building something with HTML and just putting it up there and being like, oh, cool, I made a web page. It's like, oh, cool, I made a 3D gallery with all my wearables, It has the same feeling now that you can like own space, like almost like Second Life, but now on chain. I don't know. It has a different feel to it when every part of it is in the same sphere as my social context and my government and my banking. I'm unbanked, so crypto is pretty much my bank as well. So to have it all in the same system, it feels like a full circle. Like we can do a lot more now than we could before. So even expressing ourselves and building out spaces. But yeah. So do you have a specific talk that you're most interested in, peth?
There's so much cool going to happen, and to actually even look, I'm obviously like most looking forward to the meta day, like zooming out. Although this year we also have the refi days, which is pretty similar to that. There's a lot of cool things going on there. I'm really looking forward to hear more about from the Liminal Village and the Regenerativa. So the Liminal Village people, they joined up with some other projects also, like building an actual village, and they're building a network of villages now. So that's cool. That's going to be cool for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the refi days are super cool, and then the meta days are for people to kind of connect with the DAOs, and they're like a deep dive into the ecosystem of MetaCartel and just kind of the alignment people. So yeah, the meta days are going to be exciting too. So we originally were going to have an intro to the treasure hunt. I think we're going to have a 30-minute break before that. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, Penguin, hold up, Penguin. I made a mistake reading the schedule earlier. That's not till the I think that's tomorrow, the treasure hunt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I think tenfinney's going to give it an intro to it in 30 minutes.
Oh, sweet. Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Yeah, I agreed to him that we would talk about something, give him a little bit of time. He's hard at work doing that, so
Awesome.
I want to make sure that he's got everything prepared.
Lovely.
But I figured that we would talk about something else if you're still available, Pete, for 30 minutes. Is that okay?
When?
Right now?
After?
Right now.
Right now. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys want to keep on talking shit and maybe even get more people on stage while we wait for tenfinney?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about kind of the season and what we're gonna do at the end of this MetaFest. I think it's probably a pretty good thing. Let's talk. Yeah. MetaFest.
What I'm really looking forward to is the questing system finally being usable. So it's been very close to usable for a while, and PR is open, waiting for review, and then at the end of the MetaFest we will have all the quests up there, and then we can tell people, hey, you have all of these projects that we talked about at the job fair, all these DAOs that gave presentations. You can start your own project. We have like hopefully plenty of inspiration, but also you can continue by joining metagame, and you can just proceed here. And yeah, right now people just go to the landing page and it tells them about metagame, and then they go through the profile creation flow, and then they're basically redirected to Discord and the dashboard, which gives the overview of like what's going on inside the community. Tell them like how much XP they have, the price of seeds, but also the news, or like the latest podcast episodes or the newsletters or the videos that we have. They're also like all in a feed on the dashboard and the leaderboard. And there's a calendar, but still like people are lost on that step, because you have the dashboard, which kind of you can look around, and then you have to go to Discord, and then Discord sends you to Notion, and so there's these different pieces that are still disjointed. And then once we have the questing system in place, it will be a bit of a clearer flow about how to progress through metagame. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely check out the quest system later. I'm looking forward to it too. I've seen the progress coming along, and yeah, I'm excited to see it used towards the end of MetaFest.
Oh yeah. And the quest chains, which is the other side of the questing system, I guess, which is also a product for other DAOs who want to have their own like onboarding paths. So the quest chains was made for quests that follow each other. So it started from the basic quest that we have in metagame, which is like when you're first trying to join, you have join Discord, subscribe to the newsletter, and things like that. Introduce yourself. And then after you complete the basic quests, you choose your role, and then you have like the builder's path, the designer's path, and then you have these basically quest lines that are dependent on the role you chose. And then that should also be useful for other DAOs who want to have their own onboarding journeys mapped for newcomers to make it like more streamlined to onboard into their DAO.
Yeah, I think that kind of warrants a little bit of discussion as well, because we've really played with the notion of guilds and onboarding people and having these quests that the guild leaders can kind of assign that helps onboard people into their respective sub DAOs, or just respective groups, raid parties that they're entering. Can you talk a little bit about the process that went into us forming those quests and the finding the champions for these different projects?
Well, those onboarding quests were really like slowly coming up. First we had and then we had the basic quest like subscribe, introduce yourself, things like that. And then then the builders were asking how can they start contributing, and then we obviously need some kind of a builder's path that sends them go here to check out the repo. There are these code-based walkthrough and things like that. But yeah, as the needs were coming up, these quests were made. There wasn't like pre-planning. Okay, starting metagame, let's make these onboarding quests. They're coming up organically, and it's the same with the champions of these different initiatives. Like from the beginning of metagame, we had a few different initiatives. So we had from the beginning like the podcast, the profiles, and I don't know, we did the conference. There were a few things, and that's actually the most common criticism that I got was, hey, like, why are you trying to do so many different things instead of just focusing on one and doing it well? And then I sort of rationalize it to myself in two different ways. So one is like, okay, if you're building a decentralized society, obviously you do need these different tentacles. Like you're building a technology, but you also need some kind of media outlet, like the podcast and the newsletter, or for the communications, for keeping the community up to date, things like that. And the other side is just when studying metagame, I was always thinking how people joining the space are always like, hey, I'm not a programmer, I'm not a developer, so there's nothing for me to do. And I wanted to dispel that and make it so that, hey, like there's really tons to do, like regardless of what your background or skill set, or maybe if you don't even have a skill set, there's at least a few little things that anybody can do without any skills. And then I seen this as I was sort of starting these raids that like I knew that there's no way that I can keep on going myself, but the idea was that there will be these different venues for people to explore. So when they are onboarding and then they find, okay, there are these different projects. Oh, this project is lacking a leader, and I really like this project. And then with time, these different people started coming up and taking these leadership roles.
Yeah, I think that that's one of my favorite parts about metagame too, is that it is very organic. I know it's kind of chaotic, and as you said, it's like if you're trying to do everything at once, are you making progress? And I think there has been significant progress on a lot of different fronts, especially like personal growth for a lot of people, and that's one of the big parts that is, it's like hard to quantize, right? It doesn't result in any more sales for someone, but opening someone's mind and helping people into our space and helping grow the things that we need to do and want to do is always kind of like a balance. So like the guilds has been, it's been forming people that want to be friends together for common goals and things that are of value. And sometimes it's like hard to get all the cats in a room. And so I think having the quests and having these people that obviously they're not your boss, but they're people that have the candle, and they're like walking north, and they say like, this is where we're going, this is the kind of like where we need to go. And so those guild leaders are, they're people's friends, but they're also making sure that the organization is functioning. So these quests and those lines really kind of help define the path that people can follow, because it's a decolonization is the best way to describe it. Is that people have been told to sit in a box for their entire life and listen to what someone tells you, and then when you get into the real world, you've got to figure it all out yourself. And Web2 world is all about not telling people things and having proprietary information. So when people tell you go do something, or you don't have a boss, people are kind of lost. So I think it just kind of comes with being kind of ambiguous and vague, and being a religion, right? No one knows everything about Christianity. You've got to study and have the ethos of like, I want to be a better person, if that's your vision of a better person, And I think that's why I always describe metagame as a religion more than a straight service DAO.
Right. Yeah, it really comes with a set of beliefs, both about what these technologies do, to like what should be done in general, or like how one should act, because a lot of people come in here and then they're like, hey, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And okay, I want to do this. Can I start? Can I blah blah blah? And I'm trying to explain that you should really just start doing things. And that was kind of a surprise to me. Like when I started, I thought I expected a lot more people to really be more autonomous, but people coming from the Web2 world are kind of and normal jobs, and they come here expecting to be told what to do and have their hand held through the onboarding, and then being told precisely what to do and things like that. And it's really not how it works in the DAO space. Like the space is so chaotic, and people are just being encouraged to take action. Like you see a problem, start solving it. Don't be like, hey, there is a problem, and then I'm not even gonna tell anybody.
Yeah, that's like the big problem about responsibility is like, you know, if you have a duty to do something, people, you know, are going to do it. If people don't think that it's their responsibility, they think, oh, someone else might do this. And in this space, that's not really how it works. You know, you have to take it upon yourself to do what you see, or you need to at least share that with other people that have the energy or passion to fix it as well.
Right. Yeah, super important.
So I think one of the big things that we have about metagame is to make things fun as well. Are there some fun activities that you see coming up, and like how do you kind of measure the success of what we're doing?
I was just gonna say that there was something I wanted to say before that I lost my train on the train of thought, which was like it's something it's hard to measure our progress and see what has been done and what not. But like I heard people when I meet them at a conference or something, and they tell me anything from like, hey, I got my first NFT in metagame, to like, hey, metagame changed my life. And like it didn't happen a ton of times, but it's like a few times is really enough to be like, like we are doing something right here. Something fun that's not really finalized, and I'm not sure I should even be talking about. MetaFest real life next year.
Oh, that's an alpha right there. I won't say anymore. And I will say that metagame has changed my life 100%. And, you know, I've made a lot of valuable connections and a lot of valuable insights from being a part of metagame. And a lot of it comes from opening my eyes, you know, and connecting with the people in our space. So I personally have been touched by metagame. It's why I am here, you know, why I'm going to continue to be here too, pushing, is because I love what we stand for and what we do. And, you know, so it's been a lot of fun meeting great new friends around the world that are just as passionate about helping other people and doing the right things and asking hard questions. A lot of the times, some things we do are not comfortable. Running a society and dealing with problems is stressful, but coming through with people that have good intentions means that people figure out solutions that in a normal group someone would just leave, you know. And when you have people that are committed to figuring things out, they ask the harder questions and work through the problems and kind of make positive steps rather than falling into habits that are kind of destructive in the long run.
Right. Yeah, I think this is really what sets us apart from a lot of these different communities that are based just on token holding. Like, oh, we are a community because we have the same token. And it's the same like both in the normal tokens and in the NFT space. where you have a lot of hype around the project, and then as soon as something goes wrong or the price of token goes to shit, like there's no community. There's people just like, okay, just gonna jump onto the next shiny thing. Whereas here, like our token was never really performed well, and yet the community was always here. And sure, a lot of people changed and people left, new people came, but I feel like we retained a lot of the great people, and even though a lot of the people who are not even so really very active in metagame itself and they're working on their own project these days, still part of the community.
Yeah, I think that's the other part too, is that communities are gateways towards doing what you want to do, and connections too. So like there is always a flow. Don't think that you can't get into a group now, because every group, from a metagame to raid guild to meta cartel, they require new people to come in and new perspectives, and I think everyone sees the power of new energy too, right? So if people have been chugging on the same problem for even a couple months, someone could come in new and be like, oh, why aren't you guys doing this? And that it's easier to see things from fresh eyes and to have other people's perspectives. So building that diversity and making sure that people come in and that we align them correctly means that when they do find what it is that they want to do, and they're still connected. They didn't break off. There's still people, like you'll see throughout all of MetaFest. These are all people that have either gone through metagame, have been on our community calls, or are people that we directly support through Gitcoin grants, or through showing up to their talks and supporting them and encouraging other people to listen to them as well. So they're all the people that are doing things and having the connections from metagame, and thinking and working through problems is what it's all about.
Right. Yeah, pretty much every person that's on the schedule was reached out to personally by one of us, and it's connection from somewhere. And yeah, what you were saying before, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Polymil, the most randomly useful person that we had up into. Like, I immediately came into my mind when we were saying somebody coming in and saying, "Hey, why are you guys doing this?" I think he's the person with like the most times that he came into the conversation, like, "Hey, there's this solution here." You just come out of nowhere and drop a solution. Like,
yeah, I mean that there's so many solutions that people have put out, and good solutions, that the hard part is sharing them and communicating everything that we're doing. And that's the hard part of any project, is if you're a builder, it's harder to communicate. If you're a communicator, it's harder to build. Like, we need to like start sharing and mixing these projects. And so like that's what I love about MetaFest, is it gives a voice to all these projects that have been heads down building, or don't necessarily have outlets that they get a chance to speak to a wide audience. So, these are recorded conferences that we all get to do in the comfort of our own home. So, as I said, there are like 3 other events going on right now, but, being able to share, and even the audience here is a much higher level and more confident than, I would say, just kind of the general audience, because we're sharing amongst our friends, and I think they're all kind of DAO experts and builders rather than passive participants. So I think we'll see a lot higher kind of content and sharing here than we would if we just ran for-profit, anyone come and give us the money to speak kind of conference.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, obviously metagame is supported mostly through donations, right? We've got a Gitcoin grant donation up right now. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Metagame.
So yeah, there's
no easy place to drop the link.
Yeah, those funds will be
Gitcoin.co/grants/213/metagame.
Sorry, can you say it one more time?
Gitcoin.co/grants/213/metagame.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's just like one of the many grants that Gitcoin has available for awesome organizations. So we heard about Lumina Village, obviously Metagame, and I think in giving back to the community there goes a tremendous way. So I always make sure to donate during the rounds because like $10 I think matches to about $150 or something that's given to places depending upon how many other people have donated. And so it's quadratic voting, meaning that if you donate $1, that the funds are matched and that it counts as another person donating. So there's significant matching if you increase your proof of personship and do things like your Bright ID and other tools to help prove who you are. So we'll have some Bright ID parties during MetaFest, and I definitely recommend that you support some of the wonderful organizations through Gitcoin during their matching funds. Metagame included.
A lot of cool projects out there that need funding. I also wanted to touch on what you were previously mentioning, just these different building blocks and things that people don't know exist, and especially newcomers. And then I see it actually as a problem that people keep a lot of the times rebuilding the same things that have already been built by other people that can just be reused, like even in open source where it's like completely unnecessary. And I've been thinking about starting some kind of a building blocks page on the wiki or something. I think that could be useful.
We had some playbooks that we were working on, right?
Yeah, we have the great houses. So this is kind of the part where I'm not sure how it should work. Like for those who don't know, we have a project called the Great Houses. So we have like the House of DAOs, House of DeFi, House of NFTs. And basically what they do is just give you like a high level overview of what this field of interest means, like a few paragraphs intro, and then just links to all the tools and frameworks, all the like podcasts or articles for more in-depth understanding, and basically any useful link related to that field of interest. And so like all of these houses already have their own like tooling section or like framework section. And then if we start a new page that's just for tooling, it's kind of like these, there aren't too many places. I think we need a better infrastructure where these sections from like subsections from houses also get automatically merged into a single page where it's just a list of all the tools and frameworks. I think something like that could be useful, but not possible with our current wiki.
I think the Great Houses is a very wonderful resource, probably underutilized, but as you say, it's a great way for us to communicate the tools and things that people should be using and bring notice to a lot of the great work so that people don't repeat a lot of the work that's been done and know who to reach out to kind of support existing work. I think that's the other big thing about Web3 that I love is like how open it is. Like if you want to go work on a project, usually the barrier to hop on that team or participate is much lower because of the open source nature and being able to directly contribute to repositories and kind of like build by doing rather than just talking. So I think that's a great idea, is like having the resources to go out and talk to these people. So yeah, the Great Houses is on the wiki. Is that right? It's on metagame.wtf.
Yeah, this is the mainland page, but you should be able to find the wiki through there. And if not, you can go to wiki.metagame.wtf.
Great. Tenfinney, are you here too? I see he's here. I think he's going to intro a little bit about our virtual footprint.
I've never used this interface, so I got to figure out how to do the screen share of one of my 2 screens.
So it is by your panel, your video panel.
Should be the maximize this panel right here.
Well, thank you so much, Pete, for telling us where we've been, hanging around, talking about the progress of metagame and the ethos. It's wonderful hanging out with you. I think you've been an amazing guiding star and like virtue for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you everybody for hanging around.
I'm sure we will talk to you later in the event, and I look forward to more metagame panels and sessions throughout the MetaFest2. So thank you. Okay, 10. I see your screen. We have.
Okay, and you guys can hear me okay?
I can hear you okay,
yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I haven't finished the entire doc yet, but it's pretty complete with all kinds of stuff in here that we're going to be able to do. Let me get to the top of it. And you can see, can you see my the screen to the far left where I have my Obsidian open, or can you just see CryptoVoxels?
I just see CryptoVoxels right now.
Okay, and so I'll slide this over so we can take a look at it.
Now I see it too.
Okay, now this will be the document that I'm going to post up in CryptoVoxels, so I don't really have to be present on anybody that's going through any of the journeys. So it's separated into what I told you guys about earlier was there's going to be 3 quests, and within the quests, there's games. And imagine that a game within the quest is really just kind of running an obstacle course. But within that obstacle course, you're picking up clues. And those clues allow you to build a private key. So a private key consists of 64 characters. So I'm going to provide 16 clues in each of these games that sits within one of the quests. One of the quests is metagame player roles. So you're going to go pick one of your roles. Let's say you're new to metagame, and you'll take a little journey, and then we'll teach you some stuff about metagame. So there's a roles quest. There's a player's journey where you kind of go through the things that we need to do to onboard you. And then there's the what I call the Utopia World Tour. And within all of those 3 quests, like I said, there's different games. So you're not really racing against another person. You're just racing other people that are going to do your lane and make sure that you get those clues and assemble the private key before anybody else, so you can clear the rewards within that account, if that makes sense. Okay. So like I was telling you, Penguin, that this is like, I'm still working on this, but I'll scroll you down at least to what I'm going to work on for the next few hours, which is getting down into the different hunts. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you right now about the treasure hunts. The first part I told you about is where you're just grabbing clues. I'm going to give you a decode key. You're going to assemble a private key. If you're the first to do it, you get the money. But if you are late to the party, you can still submit your answer to the private key. I'm sure the account will be empty because somebody's going to clear it all out, but we'll still have second place, third place, and everybody who assembles the private key will get a commemorative NFT 1155 deposited into their Web3 account. Okay. So the way that this is going to work is if you just go to voxels.com and you just go east for 10 blocks, and then south for 6 blocks. So it's just one direction and then one direction. And I'll show you guys how that works real quick. That you'll get down into the main game center. And the main game center is where all this is going to be explained. So if you see any of these little buttons anywhere along the tour, it takes you to this hub right here. And this hub is a place that you can go reorient yourself with everything that's going to go on for MetaFest and all these tours. If anything loads slow in CryptoVoxels, if you hit the F5 key, it's going to reload your screen. And that sometimes, if it's trying to render a lot of elements, it needs a little refresh of where you're standing. So you'll see right here, this is the Web3 Skills Hub, and all of these numbered areas right here are different places you can fast travel to in CryptoVoxels that I have direct access over. So these are ones that I either collaborate on or I actually own the parcel. So I'm in charge of all the content in them and what we're going to display. The one that we're mainly using for the gaming is this one called number 24. So if you just click on this one, it's going to take you to the location. If you didn't know how to get here already, you have to go to what I was saying, where you got to go to the middle, to voxels.com. You go to the middle of the map, you go east for 10 blocks, and then you go south for 6 blocks, and you're going to be right here. So I'm just looking up that road that I was telling you about. And I'll do that demo really quickly because I want you guys to know. If anybody says, well, how do I get to the game center? You don't have to give them really like a hyperlink. You could just say, go to voxels, go east for 10 blocks and south for 6, and you're going to be standing right in here. Okay. So once you're in here, these are the different games that I was telling you guys about. And throughout the rest of the day, I'll have it like more organized, where if you need to learn about the game right here, it's like, this is what I've been telling you. Start at voxels.com, push play. You're going to run east for 10 blocks. Can you guys see this okay on my screen? What's happening? Kind of. Travel east for 10 blocks.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so you're going to fast travel down there. You're going to come up to Joy's, parcel. There's a clue that I hid inside there. So you'll gather that clue. Then you're going to run 6 blocks south. But on the way running down there, you're going to stop at the Scarlet Factory. And then you're going to pick up a clue in there. So you're going to run by the speakers. You're going to go in here. You're going to find that picture. And then I ask you a couple of questions, So, but I've blurred it out here so you can't get the answers right now. So you can watch this video as many times as you want. And I'm going to sort of like put a couple of hyperlinks, because this is the entire games, the quests, the treasure hunts. They're all in this video, but I just ran out of time. So I need the next few hours, like I said, to go cut it up so it's not so much information. These are the 10 keys up here that I'm giving away as the rewards. So I'll make sure that by the end of MetaFest, there's money in all of these accounts, some Matic, maybe some Seed, and some WETH. So depending on the complexity of the quest, there'll be different amounts in here. And like I said, the first person who assembles the private key will clear the money. So I think that there should be another way that we give some people some rewards just if they don't get for the first one. Okay, so this is the MetaFest roles that I was telling you about. So you guys should take that journey and pick up your clues. The video shows you how to do that. This is the player's journey. And this is the Utopia World Tour that takes us over to Musashi's parcel over in Miami. And I didn't get to these two over here. So it's these 3 are the main games. And a main game is basically like this. And I gave you the first clue of every private key for free, which is that. So if you're running the blue game, you know that you're going to use my decode card to decode the first 4 characters of the private key. If you run the pink game, that is your decode in order to get you the first 4 of that private key. So each of these is a different game with its own private key. So there's 5 private keys represented in these colors that also coordinate to those up here. So game number 1 is the blue game. Game number 2 is, probably the pink game. But I haven't arranged everything perfectly in here, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'll go through one of these real quick, and I'll try not to give away the clues. So let's say that I want to do let's do the MetaFest roles. Okay, so you're just going to click here to start, and then it's going to take you over to our questing, the questing location. And then once this loads up, this gives everybody a little chance to see about our different guilds. And if there's a guild that somebody's interested in, just click that guild. If you're already a player in metagame, it doesn't matter because you're already in a guild. So you can pick whatever lane you want. All of these have a private key that we're assembling. So if you want, clue number 1 is G21. So you'll want to write that down. And then you're going to go to this parcel in here. And then you've got to remember the color that you started with, which I've already forgotten. I think it was the green one. Do you guys remember which one I picked? I pick artists. Well, let's say that I did the artist, so then you would click this one, and then you'd go in here and you'd see a clue here. So there's your clue number 3, E39. Write it down. You got a head start on everybody else. And then you're always going to turn around and click to where the up and down glowing bars are, and then that hyperlinks you to the next location. So now this is going to take us into another little lane. We're in the green lane. You turn around, and you'll find a clue in here too. So there's J33 is the next clue. And remember, the clue is not the private key. You have to, I'm going to provide a decode card for you. So you'll cross-reference that clue, and then you'll get, 4 hexadecimal numbers that are part of the private key. So you click this, and then it takes you to the next location. And then once you've gone through what I call the gates, now you're going to start your player's journey. Now, this isn't not important in order to get your private key, because remember, the private key game is you just need to go out and get the clues as quick as possible. But I'm going to start doing this journey because I'll start giving away too many of the clues. But if you just follow these numbers in sequence, you'll go around and you'll start getting a bunch of clues. So there's the blue clue over there for the builders. So that's F20 will be that clue. So that's how this works. I'm going to now remember, anytime you're in the CryptoVoxels journey, if you see these little donuts here that say W3, if you click these, it always takes you back to the hub, because I know a lot of people get disoriented in CryptoVoxels. So if you find those buttons, and I've tried to put a lot of them around, it'll take you right back here, and try to remember number 24 is the main game center. Okay, so if you just keep clicking to 24, you'll always arrive back here, and then you can go back in and do your next quest or game or whatever you want to do. And if you want to do them all, if you want to be the first one that gets them all, it'll take a while. And remember, I'm holding back the last private key. So there's 64 characters in a private key. The first 62 of them, you can assemble them all today once I post this stuff up. But the last 4 of them, I'm going to give away on closing day. And so everybody's just going to run to figure out that last one. And then the first person who gets it is going to clear the account. But then, depending on who participates, we'll make sure that whoever's left or whoever's made it that far with the 15 of the 16 also gets some reward that, like I said, I haven't quite figured that out yet. Okay, so that would have been that journey. That would have been the MetaFest2 roles journey. And now this is the player's journey. If you click this one, now you get to just pick a lane. It doesn't matter. It's not like a guild or a quest or anything. So let's say I want to do the yellow lane. Remember, it's a game. I'm assembling a private key here. And so I need to get 16 clues, the first one of which was already given to me. So look down here, clue 1 is a repeat. So you already have that one. And then you're always going to click the bar that goes up and down. That hyperlinks you to the next location. So this is going to drop you somewhere else in the map. You'll be in a lane now, and you'll want to, once that regenerates, you'll want to make sure that you stay in your yellow lane. So you click your lane, and then this will provide you another clue in this lane. So there it is. B10 is the next clue for the yellow lane. And so depending on what lane you're in, if we ever wanted to do it where everybody races side by side, we could actually have a race, but I thought that would be hard for MetaFest. So you just kind of do this on your own. It's not a race. You simply need to go through and collect 16 clues. You can get 15 of the 16 starting today. The 16th clue, which will be the last 4 digits of the private key, will come on the 22nd. Okay, so I'm going to get out of here. There's little links to get out of here. So you'll just complete that quest. And this eventually dovetails you into that player's journey where you go through and you actually learn about metagame, which is one of the treasure hunts. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go right back to the origin, and I'm going to fast travel by doing this. So if you hit your shift key and a direction, you'll kind of recognize where we are. There's the parcel that's part of our introduction. There's the Joy parcel. And right down that street, right down there is where the game center is. So I'm lucky enough to have a few parcels in CryptoVoxels that are very, very easy to locate. So the hub is right down there. Another building that we use in the events is just beyond it in the fog there. The game center is down there. And the origin in CryptoVoxels, which is the dead center of all of CryptoVoxels. So if I push that out right here, where we need to go right here. And this is so anybody that wants to be part of MetaFest is just going to go to voxels.com, and it's going to spawn them right in the middle of the map. And if you guys don't know how this works, if I scroll out by using this, you'll start to see CryptoVoxels is getting awfully large right now. So I think it's really important for people to kind of know where they're at. And you'll see mainly what we're doing in MetaFest is all in this makers and junkyard area. So we're going to fast travel back to Origin City. And then I'm going to start the tour like if I was coming into MetaFest2 for the first time and I didn't know anything except somebody just said, go to voxels.com and walk east for 10 blocks. So we'll be here. I'm going to walk east for 10 blocks, and then I'm going to go south, and then we're going to be in this little area down here. Okay. So I'm on the tour right now. So I've already done my east 10 blocks, and now I'm going to do my south 6 blocks, running past the Scarlet building where there's a clue in there, but I've already showed you guys what that clue is. So I'm about 4 blocks. Let's call that 5 blocks, 6 blocks. And now we're back to start. Okay. And I don't think there's really anything else that I need to say for this segment. I guess I should take you guys upstairs and show you the game cards, because you want to be able to keep track of these, assembling these clues. So I gave you a little, and remember F5 reloads your page. If you run around fast like I do, it doesn't really know where I'm going. And I think it's like predictive a little bit. And so I hit F5 because once I do it, it says, okay, I think you're going to stay here for a few minutes. Otherwise, it tries to render too much. So right over here, it says, click here for enter the game here. And so now this just takes you right upstairs from where we were at. But I know it's a little confusing when I started, but here is what you guys are gaming for. There's 10 accounts. Each game is a colored lane, basically, except for game 9 and 10. These are treasure hunts. The reward of winning any of these games is the money that's in these accounts, because you will be in receipt of the private key. Hope that all makes sense. Now, I have masked out a lot of this. In about 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to unmask all of this, and this will be your decode key. So how I was saying, like D5 is not the private key or any part of it. But once you've got this decode card, you're just, if you're playing game 1, you're just going to go to D5, and you'll realize that 4508 is the first 4 characters of that private key. So if you're playing game 3, H24. So if you guys grab out your game card, immediately you should pick the game you want to play, and at least write your first 4 characters of the private key down. Then once you get to the next clue in game 3, you will have another of these blue little things, and then you'll go to this decode card, and you'll just, find the column, find the row, and then you'll write those next 4 characters down, and you'll just be building that. And I provide you, everybody, like a gamer's card. So if you click this thing right here, it'll open up from Infura, and then I guess you can just print it on your computer or something. Yeah, so clue 1, D5, if you run through it, write all of your grid clues down, and then maybe grab out a piece of paper, because now you have to assemble your 64 characters. And if I have time, I'll just create one of those for the players. What else do we have up in here? For people that aren't, yeah, go ahead.
I love the look of the colored rods. They're really identifiable and interesting too. So I think it's important, like to have
the glow sticks type of thing.
Yeah,
are you talking about? Penguin, I'm glad you said that, because here's how this went down. I used to walk by this parcel because it was by one of mine. Okay, this will be a little side story, and it had that glow stick in there, and I didn't know whose parcel it is, because you can't like grab stuff from other people's parcels anymore. Like before, I think you could just grab them. So it was this parcel right here, and it had a blue glow stick in it, and I just like loved it. And so, because I have this parcel right down here, this is my Lexdow one, right? And I reached out. This guy said, "Hey, you're in CryptoVoxels too," and he just happened to be in Lexdow. And I said, "Oh, do you want to give me access to your parcel? I'll build it out for like Lexdow and Web3 Skills." And so what I did is I took this blue bar, and then I just like colorized it. I went into like GIMP, and I just pushed the colors, and then I came up with like 5 of them or 8 of them. So now I do all of these like little tours with these like little glowing little rods. And I would have never had that if I just didn't have access to somebody else's parcel. It's this guy's parcel. I don't even know what he's about, but that's his parcel. So yeah, I like the little glow sticks. Oh, there's more clues right here. I won't give them away though, because you guys are going to have to come and just collect these clues on your own.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so I think I covered how to start. If you're not familiar with this, you just go to voxels.com, go east for 10 blocks. You can collect your clue there. And that's the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the treasure hunt part of it. If you run south, you collect your clues in Scarlet Factory. And that's the only thing that's really happening outside of the parcels I have control of. I just figured that it was a good way to show people that you can do this whole thing completely anonymously. You know, you don't have to even be connected to Web3. You can just come and have fun and be completely anonymous. And if you are completely anonymous, this is what happens. And this is a part of my presentation for tomorrow. You see how you can see this MetaFest logo bouncing, and right below is a parcel. Okay, so this is a parcel that I control, but I've gated it. But you guys can see it right now because I happen to have that token. But look what happens if I log out and just disconnect from Web3. So if I come up here and I sign out, now Voxels doesn't know who I am anymore, and it masks off all the content to anybody without that token. So we are actually using that in the Utopia World Tour game that goes through Musashi's parcel. So you can do part of this tour without a token, but at some point you're going to be warned that said, look, once you get to this part of the tour, you're not going to get access inside the parcel where there's some interesting clues and rewards, but that's why you probably want one of the tokens. I do give them a workaround where you can like circumvent it. You're just never going to see what's inside that parcel. And I really want to explore that this year about gating content, gating parcels, doing things that if you have the experience or you've done something within your guild, you'll get airdrop tokens, and those tokens will allow you to come into, like, let's say, special events. All right, so that's the token gating. Oh, now I need to go to the treasure hunt. Okay, and this is what I was working on when you rung me, Penguin. So I got to clean this up so it's not like a wall of text. So I'll just spin down through it. So I've already covered this. There's the clue you're looking for at Joy's place. There's a word right in there. So you're going to just type that word in there. It says, hi, something, try again. So clue number one. And remember, each of there's 2 treasure hunts. Each of them, one has 16 questions and one has 33 questions. You need to answer all those questions in order, but they're really easy as long as you get into CryptoVoxels and you wander around. Okay. So the Scarlet Factory, I've already told you about that one. You're going to go into the Scarlet Factory. You're going to find that picture. You're going to give me the name of the third word and the name of the art piece, who won the bid, and who owns it now. So that's now clues, well, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then clue 5, I tell you to go to a new area. I tell you how to get there. And then you're going to have to answer what is the title of that image. And then I just kind of walk you through. I'm going to say, you know, what is the title of that image? What is the title of that image? Just to prove you've been in there. So a lot of, okay. And then once you get through those few clues, now you're going to go to the player's journey. And you're going to start following these little numbers down here. Like it says A2, because I refer to these panels. I usually refer to 2 things throughout the game. One is City Walk, which is that's what the parcels are named. So, and that's my naming. So if you go outside of any of these parcels and you look at the parcel, you'll see the word City Walk. So I know this is City Walk 23. I've already told you guys about City Walk 24 because that's the main game area. And you'll see in here that I refer through the game about finding certain City Walk parcels. Like this one, it says go to City Walk 1. So you'll have to figure out how to navigate to City Walk 1, which is all in the hub that I told you guys about from the beginning. And now you're just going to go on the player's journey. You're just going to answer these questions. I set this up so you're actually learning along the way about metagame. And I thought that was really something interesting to experiment with, because I think by the time somebody has to answer those 33 questions, they're going to know a lot about how to do things in metagame, and I'll get to one of those really quickly. So I'm just going to go to the let's do it by the hub. So I'm going to go back to the hub, which is clicking that button. This is going to take me to City Walk 36. There's only a few parcels that you guys should probably remember. So this is B36. I'm going to push out F5 again. And so these treasure hunts will require you to that you're going to probably want to print it out and like just march through it. It goes in an order that's really, really easy to follow once you get the hang of it. So this is, I'll go right out to the player's journey. All right, let's just go to the start of City Walk Tour again. So this is City Walk 1, and this is where we run boOg's video. And it spits all the players out right here. So if you really want to learn about metagame, I've assembled a bunch of the treasure hunt connected to this. So I call out certain numbers in certain parcels. Okay, so I think I called out one right here. So I say, go to A5, and there's something on here that I ask you to read. So you got to read the whole thing in order to get the clue. But it's somewhere in here. I say isolate a word, and then if you have that word, it proves that you got, you went there and got that clue. So if you follow all of these, and I started out my talk this morning by getting you about this far. So as you're coming through here, based on the treasure hunt, I'm going to tell you to stop in certain areas. Okay, I'm just going to jump over here. And like here's a good example. In here, I stop you in this room and I say, go to panels A35, 36, 43, and 44. And I'm going to ask you a question about these 4. Well, these 4 panels are really important because it starts to tell people about what we do in metagame, which, as we know, has been confusing for people. I ask you a question about that. That's an important panel because that deals with source cred. And then you come around here, you can collect some of your private key clues in there. Catch them quick if you want. Otherwise, just get in here and do it. And then when you walk up here, you'll start to see this is where I really overlay what we're actually doing in metagame with our quests. So I lead players over to A55 and I say, read this. And then I ask you a question about it. I say, go to quest 2, read this. And I'm going to ask you a question about it. And so by going and following the treasure hunt, you will then, by the end, you will have assembled for this one, 33 words that are based on the 33 panels that I wanted you to look at and read throughout the player's journey. So in this room right here, there's 2 things going on. One is you're assembling a private key if you've chosen to do that part of it. Remember, that is that, game 1 through 8. And there's also another game in here that's the treasure hunt, where you're simply going up here and locating the positions I wanted you to locate and answering questions about my meta or the things that we're working on. Okay. And I think for the most part that covers it. I know it was a lot because I'm still trying to form it up for later on this afternoon. And by tomorrow, it should be pretty cleaned up where I don't even really have to do this talk. I think it'll be self-explanatory if you just get to this document and you just read it. And I might get some of the stuff up at the top just because it's a wall of text. But in essence, I think that I covered almost everything here except how to work in CryptoVoxels. If you fall in the water, how to go fast, what token gated parcels are, getting started. I went over that. The quest number 1, which is the role selection quest, the player's journey quest, which we just looked at, the Utopia World Tour, we haven't done, but I'm going to leave that one on your own to assemble the clues in that. What it looks like for non-token holders going through this hunt. Because remember, all the players or everybody in the Discord has a token. So if you are logged into Voxels with the account that holds your access token, you'll be able to get to the gated parcels. If you don't have that token, all those parcels will look like they're in pink. It's not too late to get a token, but we got to figure out a way to get that list and then get those minted. And then this is the treasure hunts 1 and 2. Basically, I've talked multiple times about this. This is how you start getting your clues, what they look like. This is kind of like a dry run so you can get the hang of it. And then I think I will get to this point. I'm just saying, just go follow. These are the letters up on the wall, the A35, A36. By the time I got up here, I was on a F. F. Push the F key if you need to fly. Yes, I think the first clue in here, I think I drop you at A77. So back over here. Yeah, eventually you get down to A77. And as a hint, A77, and answer this. What is the white space on the image at location A77? Well, it looks like it's calendar. So that would be the clue there. So I just gave away one of them. Okay. All right. Well, that's it. Are there any questions? Was it completely confusing? If I do this later on, should I leave out like 50% of it?
No, I think it was actually very, very helpful. And I think it gave a lot of important information that, if you were just coming into this, you might not understand, even if you were just reading it. So I think it was really important to have you go through and walk people through some of the first clues. I think it'll help motivate people to get started and feel like they can do it. So I really appreciate you walking through and going into the steps, because it might be a little bit too much information, but it's better to get people going. And I think it was very helpful. I think people will still have a lot to figure out. They got a glimpse of what they should do, but it'll really depend on them going out and doing the work. So I encourage you to do it. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to take a crack at it too. So I look forward to it. I think that the part of the last day is going to be a crazy scramble if everyone gets everything ahead of time. So thank you for sharing now. And I created a treasure hunt channel for you to post any relevant links for people to get started there, or any questions. I think it should be a lot of fun. And for anyone who doesn't know, this is Voxels, or previously Crypto Voxels, that the world is in. You don't need an account, as he mentioned, to play. You just need to click the link to go to the parcel, and you can run around and view most of the clues without needing even an Ethereum wallet. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. And that's what I'll show it one more time. If anybody says, well, how do I get started on it? You're just going to go to voxels.com. You don't have to have any special account. You're going to press play. What it's going to do, it's going to center you to the very, very center of the Crypto Voxels world. You'll see I'm in Origin City right here. If I click this out, you'll see I'm here, and I said, go east for 10 blocks. That's it. So I'm going to go directly east for 10 blocks, which is about, I think it's right here. And then we're going to go down. And that's it. That's how you're going to get started this. And everything else should be in that parcel for you to learn everything that I told you guys. You're just getting a head start today because I basically talked you guys through it. But you should be able to follow the documents and do the same thing. So I'm on a fast travel. This will be the last thing that I do. Fast travel for 10 blocks. Hold down your shift key and an arrow. And when you start to see this yellow parcel right here, you should stop. And you're going to turn, and there's a clue in that parcel that you're going to need to find. It's really easy to find. And then you're going to turn right after you have that clue. So write that clue down, and then you're going to run south for 6 blocks. But on the way, you should stop at this red building and get in there. There's another 3 clues in there. You're going to find a painting. You're going to tell me the name of it, who bought it, and now who owns it. And it's easy to find literally in one click, because you're just going to click it, open it up, and all that information is right there on the NFT. You're going to go back to this street, and you're going to continue your 6 blocks down. And once you're at the very end of that, if you don't have a token, you should see this parcel in pink. It means it's gated, and you won't have access to it until you get the token. And I should point this out. There's a couple of forms in here. This is where you'll want to put your answers in. So once you feel that you've assembled your answers, you're going to click this. You're going to open that Airtable link and get your answers in there with your Web3 address. And the first people that assemble the treasure hunt will win.
Awesome.
And then once you're in here, it's back on you guys. Okay, so that's that. Thanks for letting me share that again.
Awesome. And which token do they need to get into this room?
The MetaFest, this one, and there's 297 owners. So these are all the people that have them. And if you're in the Hasura database for metagame, you have now at least 2 tokens, maybe 3 now.
Oh, nice. So I've already have one.
Yeah. And so we haven't figured out a way to transfer them. I thought we were going to be able to, we would all have a couple extra one to give out to other people, but it looks like there might be a bug in that. So what we're going to do is we just have to figure out a way that if somebody says, hey, can I get one of those tokens? We just have to assemble a list, and then tomorrow or the next day, or, I'll just mint new tokens to those people. So they'll have one too to access this.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, you heard it. If you didn't participate last year, get your name in that treasure hunt channel, or directly to tenfinney, so we can get you an access token, and you can get inside this token gated parcel. That's a really cool feature that I didn't know we had in Origin City yet. So awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Or well, I'll be around today, but I'll do my CryptoVoxel more deep dive stuff tomorrow.
Looking forward to it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
So, that's our opening day and what we had planned. We gave our opening ceremony. We heard some amazing music from Jose Cabrera. We got the intro from peth. We talked to some metagamers, and we got the intro on the treasure hunt. So I'm really excited for what MetaFest has in store for us 2022. Thank you, everyone that helped make it possible. And just to know that typically our day will go for another 3.5 hours from now. So the starting time is going to be the same every day. So we're going to start at 7 a.m. Pacific and end at 2 p.m. We'll post the UTC times as well for what that is. And thank you, everyone, for coming for the opening. We're going to have a great festival. Take care.